Welcome to another In Wheel Time podcast, a 30-minute mini version of the In Wheel Time car show that airs live every Saturday morning, 8 to 11 a.m. Central.
Celebrating 10 years of award-winning car talk, it's the In Wheel Time car show. Coming up, we're going to have a discussion about engines. Should an engine be part of the selection process when looking for another car? Yes.
Absolutely.
Mr. Mars has a feature on the RPM Act of 2021, and I promise it is G-rated. We have the upcoming events calendar and today's news headlines. Just ahead on today's In Wheel Time Car Show. Howdy, along with Mike out of this world, Mars, King Conrad DeLong. I'm Don Armstrong. Our good friend and compatriot, Jeffrey Zekin, is at home.
But he's online with
judging the show today.
Yes.
He's judging the show, and clearly you were
remote control.
And so Jeff will be back with us on our next live show.
Like one of your ex-wives,
in a
always
couple of weeks.
You.
Yes, amen to that. All the time. So I want to know what the hell's happened to the rain. Where is it? It's supposed to be raining right now.
Is it?
It's supposed to be, yes. So I just thought I'd throw that out there because, we were supposed to be at Tailpipes and Tacos today. And
it was canceled because of the forecasted weather.
Of 90% chance of rain beginning at 6 o'clock this morning. That was the forecast yesterday morning at this time. What's happened? Tell me.
We're not having Tailpipes and Tacos, and we're here trying to wing a show.
That's it. As a matter of fact,
I think there are some other shows going to happen a little later today. And we'll talk about those when we do.
No, there's not. Now, today's forecast is 100% chance of showers and thunderstorms before 4 p.m. That's the current forecast. And there is a big wad of rain just to the northwest of us. It's actually up in College Station, moving into College Station right now. But
so it is coming this way.
It's heading this way. The showers will start here in a couple hours, but whatever. We could have done the show.
Bruce said it stalled in Bastrop.
Yeah, it looks like it may actually kind of go around us.
No,
it's going to go right over the top of us.
Yeah, it's just a little delayed, that's all.
I think
it'll be a mess.
He said, saying, it'll be a mess. Yeah, later on today.
Full of it.
Yeah, the weatherman. Got to love him. All right, so our discussion continues about cars, new, used. If you're in the market, which way do you go? What kind of car do you buy?
Who do you buy from?
Who do you buy from? Where do you buy? The advantages and the disadvantages. We've talked about all that. So I thought that this segment of the show, we would talk about engines in cars. Now,
motors if you're into EVs.
That's right. Well, my dad always used to say a motor is electric, an engine is a gasoline engine. Because that was...
Yep. That's why I said motor.
Yeah. But for our purposes here, we're going to talk about specifically new cars. Let's just keep it at that. And new cars, meaning those that are on the lots.
And the choices you have
for
the vehicle, well, and to a degree, some of the narrowed choices you have as well.
Or no choices.
Right. The new Toyota Tundra.
It's got one motor.
It's a twin turbo V6, and that's the only motor available.
Correct.
Actually, a friend of mine just drove one this past week up in College Station, and he said it was a beast.
Yeah. And for gasoline motors, everybody's always had this idea, including me, that a 4-cylinder motor belongs in a bug. And that is not the case anymore. And I drove a 4-cylinder that acted really like a V8 in that Buick Envision that I had.
Okay. Well, turbo.
Oh, yeah, absolutely, a turbo.
Yeah.
And it had 310 horsepower out of a 4-cylinder.
Well, you got to remember.
Are you kidding?
Chevrolet sells a turbo 4-cylinder in a full-size pickup truck.
Yes, they do.
1500 pickup truck.
Yes.
And then they also sell the V6, and then they sell a gaggle of V8s, including all the way up to the diesels and stuff. So that range of motor or engine kind of goes back to your list.
Yes, the list.
What do you want? What does it need to do for you?
Correct. Do you if you want fuel mileage? Oh my gosh. They have got some 4-cylinders that'll get almost 50 miles to the gallon. It has no power, and it is. But if you don't really care,
Right.
Doesn't make any difference.
If that fuel economy is one of the most important things for you.
Right. And it's going to limit your choices of vehicles if that's what you're out for, because as you progress down the fuel economy chain, or up the chain, as it were,
whichever direction you want to go,
that it makes a huge difference in what vehicle you choose. And it's going to narrow the field in that direction.
Oh, yeah. And can be extremely narrow in some instances of single choice.
Right.
And then you go to some of these vehicles. I'm going to go to the Ram that have the electric hybrid component on the truck that kind of gives you a boost at the what do they call that? I can't remember the name of it.
It was like right there.
If I wouldn't have asked, you'd have known it.
I know. I was fixing to tell you what it was.
But that is a wonderful option to get if you are looking for some power off the line. Was that the V6 that it was attached to?
Well, it was the V6, but they also put it on the Hemi, but you can also get it in the Jeeps. It's not just the Ram truck.
Right.
They actually have that on the Jeep as well.
Yeah, and it's really cool, just to digress a little bit, because not only does it help you off the line and do that, but where it really does, to me, makes the big difference is in the shift points. So whenever, and it amazes me they can do this, so, and correct me where I'm wrong here, so when the car goes to shift gears, it kind of stops for a momentary. There's no power there because it's shifting from first to second. Well, this electro motor steps in and produces power during that brief time. And
it's as smooth as silk.
It does. I mean, it smooths out the whole shifting thing, which I happen to like the firmer shifts, but it really does do that, and that's part of where it gets the fuel economy
And we'll assume
from.
that you're a car person since you're listening or watching this show. And so if you're an aficionado of cars, it's the subtle things, especially when it comes to engines, that make a world of difference.
Right.
A world of difference.
Well, let's go back in time to, I'm going to go way back in time, forgive me.
Don probably still knows what it is.
Shut up. I knew you were going to say something about my age. Shut up.
The Cadillac V8 6.4, which was
a
mechanic's heaven, because they worked on them all the time.
Right.
But that was kind of one of the early forays into displacement on demand that was horribly executed, but it was the start of it. So, now you've got it
was a great idea.
Yeah. But you still have displacement on demand. Hemis do it. LS Motors do it. Everybody does some type of displacement on demand. And how has that improved over time?
But you're going to have to explain that, because we know what that is, but there may be somebody that doesn't.
In the V8s, it turns 4 of the cylinders off, so you get better fuel economy. So if you're driving down the road on the cruise control, your engines, your vehicle's running on 4 cylinders, so it takes a lot less fuel to propel you down the highway. And it's all these manufacturers trying to get more and more fuel economy out of their vehicles. So that's where displacement on demand, and many manufacturers are using a form of that. But think about the early ones, and what a pile of steaming poo they were. And then how they've advanced them, because I'm going to tell you, the second and third generation of displacement on demand was still a little weird, because you could feel it. There was some noises and some vibrations in the vehicles. Today's, you don't even know.
But that's part of the process. You got the idea, you got to start someplace, and then you develop it. It's kind of like the stop-start system. The first one I ever got into, it was in a manual gearbox, and I pushed it on the clutch, and the car died. And I thought, what in the world is going on here? But now they've gotten to the point now you don't even hardly notice it.
Well, and that's another thing. If you're going to buy used, and I just have to divert here just a minute. If you're going to buy used, you need to keep in mind that there are some engines out there that you might not really want. You really want, especially if you're an everyday driver and stuck in traffic, and the start-stop feature will drive you insane.
Well, I remember that you had that Audi Q5 with the diesel, and it literally felt like somebody ran into the back of the vehicle when it would restart, because it would just kind of lump.
It shuddered.
The whole car would shudder. But again, that technology has so advanced that it is somewhat imperceptible today. But if you're buying used, you better understand what you're buying. And that's where, it goes back to, we talked earlier about buying a used car without sitting in the seat. And I think we're going to talk about that a little bit later as well.
It truly is. It's something that you should definitely look for, not only used, but especially in a new vehicle, because there are some, and these are brand new vehicles that I get to test drive and bring the report to you. And if it doesn't work right, I'm going to tell you that it doesn't work right. There are some that I wouldn't give you 2 cents for, that are just absolutely horrible. They shudder to life. The start-stop feature is annoying. There are other start-stop features on some of these cars. You cannot tell that it's even in place. And
a lot of that depends on how the start-stop feature is engaged. In some of them, the start-stop feature actually has an electric motor that restarts the vehicle. Some of them, it's where they stop the piston and fire the fuel in the spark plug that just restarts it. There are others that actually use a belting system to restart the motor, and all of those create different sensations in the vehicle.
Yeah. And not only that, there are other ones, and a lot of them, most of them, use the actual starter, the regular starter. And I can only imagine how many start? Oh, yeah. Because, if you're in stop-and-go traffic, oh, my gosh, it's starting and stopping 100 times between work and home. And what a pain. And you can feel it start and stop.
There is a benefit to it. There is a measurable fuel economy benefit to it. And earlier ones always had the off switch, but you had to restart it every time you started the car. A lot of the current ones, there's no way to turn the system off. It's just on, and that's just the nature of how the car works. So if you're buying new, understand that. If you're buying used, you need to know how that system works.
And, of course, an electric car has no issues with any of that. No. It's either on or off with the electric motor, and that's it.
And how far you can go.
Right. But, so should an engine be part of your shopping list? I say absolutely.
Without a doubt.
Without a doubt. I mean,
in today's environment, regardless, it needs to be a consideration.
Right. And, if you're hanging on and waiting for an electric, good for you. But I think that the gasoline motor is here to stay, at least in our lifetime.
Yeah, I completely agree. But again, back to your list of needs and wants determines what engine you're going to get. If you're very environmentally friendly, you might want the EV. If you're a little more cost conscious, the 4 cylinders tend to be cheaper than the V6s and V8s and get better fuel economy. So all of that weighs into it, but there are trade-offs.
Well, I will tell you that, and as you know, I've always been the weird duck.
Still are.
Is that what they call it?
Yeah.
Now.
Well,
is that how you spell it?
That's one of the terms that we like to, that we're familiar with, and that we can use on a family-friendly automotive show.
Very good.
There's that. But my first foray into automobiledom would be
automobiledom. That's a new word. Yeah,
I made that up. Was a 235 Blue Flame 6-cylinder. Well, back in my teenage years, there was nothing short of me adding some horsepower. No matter what it was, I would find a way to add some horsepower. So, even though it had a 6-cylinder and a one-barrel carburetor, I managed to find a setup that Offenhauser made, former manufacturer. I don't think that they exist any, maybe by name, but Offenhauser made an aluminum intake manifold for the 235 Blue Flame 6 that allowed you to put 2 carburetors on it. So I managed to put 2 Rochester 1-barrels on what was a 1-carbureted 1-barrel. And it certainly did add to the horsepower. But I'm just saying that there's always power adders that you can get on these engines. However, one of the things that I think is needed to be said is the fact that if you're going to think about adding something or taking away something or changing something on your new car, chances are it's going to void the warranty. So you might want to think twice about that.
And the complexity of doing those things today. Yeah. Back then you're talking about slapping a intake manifold and another set of carburetors on an engine.
Just the timing.
Not very difficult. I mean, to view it from a mechanic's point of view, not very difficult
Correct.
to do. Today's cars, extremely difficult to do, where most of the power adders are all done in the software.
Yeah.
Or forcing air, putting some type of nitrous on it.
Yeah. Yeah. Superchargers, blowers, that sort of thing.
So the Hot Rod Tour of Texas have joined us, Bobby Sparkman and stuff. So
welcome to the show. We're having a different kind of show today because it's going into Christmas, and Mr. Mars didn't want to try to get guests. He wanted to skirt. He wanted to skirt his usual responsibilities and say, "I'm not going to get any guests. You come up with something."
Well,
he did not say that, but I jacked with him a little bit.
Heitzman asked, do you think that the gasoline engine will fade out after 2050?
No,
Honestly, I don't care, because by the time 2050 is here, I'm going to be eaten by the ants and worms.
Yes, exactly. That's exactly right. I think that there is a place, and probably will be in all of our lifetimes, even the 5-year-old that's watching the show, God forbid, that there will always be a need for a gasoline engine.
Well, and just the inventory of existing gas engines aren't going to go away over that period of time. You know, look, your car is 20 years old, my car is 50 years old. So those cars are always going to be around. But on the new car side of things, with government regulations and stuff, maybe it will all go EV by that point.
It won't be not in our lifetime. So I think that for now, anyway, and I know that all of the manufacturers have an EV plan. Many of them already have EVs that you probably don't even know of. Kia has an EV. Mm-hmm. All of them have EVs,
and a lot of them are selling an EV.
Right, and that's fine. But I think that for the most part, as far as economy is concerned, and we talked to the guy a couple of weeks ago. That is there a reason that we have Conrad on and not all of us?
David up, and I'm working on the camera for.
I see. Well,
we'll switch it to Don.
No,
since
I don't
Don's
know.
talking.
But okay, fine.
Because he's messing with the group.
That we talked to the guy that an EV is actually, if you drill it all down, it's probably more expensive than a gasoline engine.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah,
yeah. Once you factor in the price of the EV and then the charging of the EV.
And the long-term maintenance, because at some point in its life, battery replacement.
Right. So it's still a feature
but
that you'll have to pay for, and it's not. I won't have to pay for gas anymore. No, you're going to have to pay for electricity. And it's not cheap, by the way.
Elon Musk has proven with Tesla that an EV platform is profitable, saleable, and desirable in the market.
It's made him the richest man.
Yep.
What you need to come and sit down and put a headset on if you're going to argue anything. So you just go over there and get the vacuum cleaner out.
Does he get government subsidies? Yes. Do the people who buy them get government subsidies? Yes. Will people buy them if that $3,500 subsidy goes away? Absolutely. Because he has built a brand of Tesla, and the vehicles are actually quite nice.
They're very nice.
And has proven that it's a viable platform.
Let me ask everybody, have you ridden, seen, looked into,
or driven?
Had anything to do with a Tesla? Not necessarily owning one, because if you own one, that's kind of given thought. But at any rate, I think that you would probably behoove yourself to stop into a Tesla store if you're in the market for an EV and see what the Tesla is all about, what the hype is all about, why people are buying them at the rate that they're buying them.
Oh, yeah.
Because it is well thought out.
By the 500,000 a year rate.
Yeah. And they're basically made, engineered by millennials. And they have done a phenomenal job with this. Kind of like all of these spaceships that they're sending off now. Mm-hmm. I mean, who would have thought that you could send them all automated? That Blue Origin thing, there's nobody at the controls of that. They're sitting in a little pod that looks like a penis.
Can you say that? Oh, I think he just did.
Well, I'm serious. What? What were you going to say, Morris? Because I'm sure you had something to chime in on.
Yeah, I'm going to write that down for my notes for the podcast.
Are you going to edit that out?
No, I was going to make a note so I could put it in the description.
I see, and use it to torture me in years to come.
Yes,
but it is that level of technology that they're bringing into the EV world, especially when you and the automotive world when you look at some of these automated cruise control systems that are out there.
Absolutely,
very complex system of cameras and radars and all of that
LiDAR
stuff.
and all that.
That kind of automation is, to me, scary.
Well, it is, because right now the infrastructure is not here to support it. That's the bottom line. Don't buy something that it's not supported, because I can speak from experience. I had a Cadillac that had the Super Cruise on it. And it worked great as long as it could see lines on the road. But once they would go through a construction zone, which was all the time here, instruction zone, it didn't know what to do.
Right.
And had I not been behind the wheel and paying attention, it would have ran me off the road.
Well, you're supposed to be paying attention.
Well, I know
it's
that.
not for you to go to sleep.
I know that, but then you hear these stories about
people
these
going to sleep, reading a book,
or sitting in another seat, bypassing the system's safety interlocks. I mean, that's so stupid. But at any rate, so back to engines briefly, or
motors,
or motors, but engines in our case today. I think that it is extremely important when you select something, see what kind of engine it has in it, what kind of gas mileage it gets, so you know what you're buying going in. Mm-hmm. It gets good gas mileage, it gets terrible gas mileage, or something in between. So you don't, I'm surprised, well, I didn't know that it didn't have any power. I can't get on the freeway like I used to.
Yeah. Well, you already own it, so suck it up, Buttercup. You made a bad choice.
And in some of the online forums and stuff, I've seen people actually say that. I can't, I bought this with a V6. I bought a truck, a half-ton truck with a V6, but it doesn't have any power. Well, dude, didn't you drive it?
Well, in some instances, no.
Well, apparently,
in many instances, with these online companies that are selling online,
that deliver to your front door.
You have no choice of. You have no choice. Right. What are you going to do?
Well, I don't even consider that an option. I'm not buying a car. I take that back. I saw a '62 Corvette that I couldn't afford.
That doesn't count.
Yeah.
No, that doesn't count. That's a specialty car, and no, that's not part of the discussion today.
Jeff sent me what time to make note here about
my comments.
Yeah, the mention. Make sure I note what time that is. And
Jeff's still running the clock on us.
So people
Thanks,
can find
Jeffrey.
it.
I know that that was a bad choice of words, and I should have never used a bodily part to whatever. All of you guys. Events calendar. There are things coming up, but maybe not today, tomorrow.
Well, actually today, crew.
It's going to rain.
Well, Crew on Deck is going to be at Kim's Tea House for their Toy Drive number 5, and that's at 1523 South Mason. Models, raffles, anime. Remember we had Eric Allen on as Deadpool. He's going to be there. They're going to have I think it's an alcohol injected car there. They're going to fire it up, hopefully, and rattle the building. Tomorrow is a classic car show with trophies at the Valley Ranch Town Center in New Caney, Texas. Also tomorrow, there's going to be a car show up in Round Rock, Texas, and that's going to be at the Centennial Plaza and at Baghdad Avenue in Round Rock. I didn't realize there was a Baghdad Avenue. Also tomorrow,
I Dream of Jeannie's going to be there.
That's right. Also tomorrow from 11 to 2 p.m. is Coffee and Cars at Century Square in College Station. The Nawada Garage grand opening.
Do you ever read this before you print it out?
I read all of them before I print them out. I just can't pronounce them. And that's going to be at Village Green Drive in Jersey Village, and then from 1:45 to 4 p.m.
And he put his glasses on.
You want me to read that for you?
1:45. Well, it's
okay. So
Northgate Toy Drive.
Okay, that's fine. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Time now for a special that Mr. Mars has. He's been doing banned race cars. Today, it's the RPM Act of 2021. Is it something that's G-rated? Because it's an act.
Well, we're going to make it G-rated. In fact, we're going to, because everybody needs to know about this. At least all of the people that are our listeners.
Car enthusiasts.
Car enthusiasts. You know, if you recall here a while back, we talked to Andy Lilienthal, crankshaft guys out there in Oregon, about what was going on up in the Northeast, Maine in particular, where some of these JDM vehicles that have come into the country, people were driving, licensed, registered, and everything, and the state had come back and said, nah, you can't drive this. You've
already paid all your money to put it on the road.
Yeah.
Now we're going to take.
So
they're
pulling
away.
the plates off of them and stuff. So back and that's kind of what got me to thinking about this. But back in 2015, the EPA took the position that that all the vehicles that you have in this country have to remain emissions compliant. Now, that's fine. That's all your smog controls. I mean, that started back in 1970s and 80s. But the fact remains is that means that you can't modify that vehicle. You can't change the carburetor. You can't change the exhaust system. And literally, you can't even get to changing the tires and wheels if you get down to it, because you can't. So what the RPM Act of 2021 is actually a bill to change that so that if you have a car that you've bought, let's say you've bought a 70 model Boss Mustang and you want to put it on the track, or a 69 Camaro like the Emmons boys run down there, and you want to put it in, you want to make a stocker race car out of it and make a full-blown race car out of it. Well, according to the EPA, you can't do that. That's illegal, even though you're not driving it on the street. Because of the modifications. So this bill is going into place to make that. I mean, there's still a fight over whether it's street legal or versus that. But if it's a full-blown race car, this bill is being put into place to make that allowable. Because not only does it say you can't build that car, it's telling the aftermarket industry you can't sell those parts to make that car. So you're talking about SEMA, billions of dollars a year in this market that the EPA said, can't do this anymore.
So we're going to let the government get involved again to screw it up even more.
Well, it's everywhere they get involved.
It's already quietly got involved. And SEMA's pushing this, and a lot of other ones
trying to make this happen.
Trying to make this happen to kind of get the government out a little bit. So if you hear anybody talking about the RPM Act of 2021, it's not a bad thing. It's a good thing to try and get the EPA.
So call your
off.
congressman and senator and ask them to support the RPM Act.
Oh, yeah.
And in fact, you can actually go to SEMA, and they've got a link on there that you can click on and put your address and stuff, and it'll pop a note out to your representatives to support this.
So now
act.
everybody's got your damn telephone number and email address, so you can be bothered by that every day.
Exactly.
Yeah. Thank you.
You're quite welcome, sir.
The In Wheel Time Car Show streams on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and InWheelTime.com. Podcasts are available from your favorite podcast provider. The In Wheel Time Car Show continues after this quick break.
Because of inclement weather, the Tailpipes and Tacos December Cruise-In was canceled. Darn it. But when it returns in the spring, expect a new and exciting way to enjoy the gathering. Tailpipes and Tacos is Houston's unique Saturday morning cruise-in, and with a new quarterly format, you'll have more time for car mods and to get ready for cruise-in trophies. Yup, you can compete for Best Hot Rod, Best Classic, and more. And the top car will be featured on a full-size poster that'll be used to promote the next event. Bragging rights are guaranteed here. Tailpipes and Tacos wants to thank all participants and visitors who made the event an exclusive, fun gathering of unique cars, trucks, hot rods, and lots of muscle. And we know you'll enjoy it even more in 2022. Tailpipes and Tacos will still be held at the Lupi Tortilla Tex-Mex in Katy, just south of I-10 at Kingsland Boulevard on 99, the Grand Parkway. Stay tuned right here to the In Wheel Time Car Talk Show, and we'll tell you the exact date for the next event. Until next time, be sure to visit the Lupi Tortilla Tex-Mex in Katy, where you'll find the best fajitas this side of California. If you're in charge of your company's small, medium, or large business anywhere in the U.S., let the On Hold Company help you retain customers and promote your business on your telephone system. Promote special sales or company info when placed on hold. The On Hold Company provides custom on-hold messages with professional male or female voices, licensed background music with no long-term contract, no monthly recurring bill, and updates your messages as needed. Call the On Hold Company at 713-223-HOLD or go to onhold.net. Is your business or company looking to stand out in a crowded advertising market? Looking to reach the real auto enthusiast? Well, you found it. You're listening or watching In Wheel Time, and so are your fellow enthusiasts. The In Wheel Time Car Show now reaches 500,000, and we can put together a marketing plan that will engage them in your product, business, or service. To get the tires rolling, just shoot us an email to our marketing director, Jeff Zekin. His address is jeff@inwheeltime.com. That's it for this podcast episode of the In Wheel Time Car Show. I'm Don Armstrong, inviting you to join us for our live show every Saturday morning, 8 to 11 a.m. Central on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and our InWheelTime.com website. Podcasts are available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, iHeart Podcast, Podcast Addict, TuneIn, Pandora, and Amazon Music. Keep listening, and we'll see you soon.